all. This is Felicia from the blog feliciagraves.com, and today I am going to show you how I make the most perfect roast. It just falls apart and melts in your mouth. It is so good, and it is one of my family's favorite meals. My husband absolutely loves it, and I love making it because it's really simple to make, and it is perfect for this time of year. As I'm recording this, it has been raining almost all week long, and I'm just ready for all those fall cozy comfort meals. And this roast, that's what that is to me. It is one of those really cozy comfort meals. So the first thing that I do is I just prepare the vegetables. And so I chopped up some onions and some carrots, and I am just sauteing these for a little bit here in my Dutch oven in a little bit of oil. And I'm not trying to cook them all the way through here. The goal is just to release the flavor, to get those aromatics going, and to soften them up just a tiny bit, but I'm not worried about trying to cook them all the way through. So first I'm going to do this with the onions, and then I will remove the onions, and then we're going to add in the carrots. And you'll see when I add in the carrots here that I also add in some baby carrots. That is just because I had just a few baby carrots left at the bottom of a bag that needed to get used up, and I thought this would just be the perfect way to do that. So of course, any kind of carrots that you have are going to be great for this. It doesn't matter. I was just trying to make use of what I had in my fridge. So that's why the random assortment of carrots here. Again, I'm not trying to cook them all the way through. I just want to get them, just a tiny bit softened up and really focusing on releasing the aromatics and the flavors. And then I'm going to remove the carrots, and then I'm going to sear each side of my roast. Now, I talk more about this in the blog post that has the recipe, and I will link that below for you. But if you need to skip a step, it is okay to skip doing this with the onions and the carrots, but I really recommend that you do not skip searing each side of your meat, because that has such an impact on not only the flavor of the end result that you're going to get, but also the moisture content. It's really important to get that, juicy. In order to get that juicy fall apart roast, you really need to do this, and it just takes 5 minutes on each side. You're just trying to brown it up. Same thing as with the vegetables. We're not interested in trying to cook this giant piece of meat all the way through. We're just searing both sides of the meat. That's really going to help lock in the moisture and lock in all of the flavor. Now, after one side has seared, I just flip it over and do the exact same thing on the other side and let that sear for about 5 minutes. We're just looking for that golden, that brown color that you see there. That's really the goal. So now that both sides have seared, I go ahead and take the meat out and set it aside just for a moment. And I'm going to put a little bit of my broth or stock in the bottom of my Dutch oven here, and use my metal whisk to whisk around and release all of that stuck on, good seasoning at the bottom. There's so much flavor in there, so I want to go ahead and use the whisk and really get in there and make sure to release all of those little bits, because that's going to help so much to flavor everything. Now I go ahead and I add my Worcestershire. I'm not going to say that right. I go ahead and add that in now just because I find it easier to kind of mix everything together. And then I'm going to put the roast back. I'm going to top it with those onions and carrots that we cooked down just for a little bit, and then fill it back up with more broth or stock, whichever one you're using, beef broth or beef stock. And of course, all of the measurements, everything you need for the recipe is going to be linked below in a free printable recipe card, so that you can get the exact information that you need. But once I get the veggies back in here and the rest of my beef broth, then it's time to go ahead and put it into the oven. And we just let this hang out in the oven for several hours. It's going to cook low and slow, which is going to have such a wonderful, delicious impact on that meat, and that's what's going to give it that nice like fall apart, melt in your mouth texture. It's just so good. This is the final result. I actually had trouble getting the roast on the plate in a way that looked nice for you because it was falling apart so much as I was taking it out of the Dutch oven. Of course, if you want to, you can also take some of that broth that it cooked in and make a gravy to go with it. I'm not really big on gravy on my roast, but that's totally an option if you like to have that. But I think this is just such a wonderful and perfect fall meal.